Hello friends, Mary here from Rocky Mountain Gardens, and I certainly do want to apologize for taking so long to bring you a tour of my spring backyard garden. We have had the craziest weather here in Colorado. We had 90 degrees earlier, severe drought all winter, and then we were hit with a snowstorm on May 20th. We got about 14 inches here at my house. And because of the snowstorm and the freezing temperatures, many of my plants were really hurt, even though I tried covering as much as I could and knocking snow off my bushes and all of those tricks that we use here for late spring snows. But because of that, everything is growing much later with this combination of a drought, so no water until the sprinkling systems were turned on, and then we had the spring snow on May 20th, like I said. So everything has been pushed back in my garden as far as having flowers blooming and my bushes that flower. Everything came so much later this year. And you'll see when I do my garden tour here in just 1 minute that even like my hostas, some of them seem to be fully fleshed out and others are tiny little babies still. So we're just coping with the weather as it comes and doing the best we can as gardeners. And you can't get anxious about it because the weather is beyond our control, and we just do the best as we can with our gardens. In any case, let's just jump right into this video that I filmed for you all. I hope you like it. Today I thought I would give you an overall look at my garden, which I oftentimes focus on specific plants in my tours, but today I wanted you to see how it looks with a broader sort of view. As you can see, my grass still hasn't greened up completely. Now here I have worked to create a cute little border with these small terracotta pots. And this was earlier in the spring. You can see how dry the ground is. I actually dug just a trench and then set these in the little pots, and they make this cute border, as I said. I really like the way it looks. And then of course I have planted some ground covers in that area as well. Now over here, this is the garden area next to my porch swing. And as you can see, this garden sort of forms a half circle around the grassy area. This pot survived well from the snow. It looks pretty good right now. Here are some of the ground covers that I have been using to fill in sort of bare spaces in my garden. My irises really haven't bloomed much as yet. I find that when we have a wet spring, they do much better with their blooming. As you can see, I haven't started up my fountain quite yet, but that will be certainly on my next backyard tour. This Black Beauty elderberry that you see highlighted will, I hope, get flowers this year for the first time. It has very pretty pink flowers. I hope I get to show you that in a later video. By the way, if you have any questions about this tour or plants that you have seen on it, but I didn't mention their name and you'd like to know that, be sure to ask me in the comments below. I really do like to share information about gardening because it's a fun hobby, and I invite you all to join in the party, so to speak, uh, for more information and learning more about this wonderful way to spend your time and to beautify the world. So ask questions, and also if you're enjoying what you see on my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe and join others who are part of my YouTube family. More ground covers filling in, I hope, in the future, this space that you see here. Just a very few of my irises have begun blooming, as you can see here with these yellow and purple bicolored ones. Aren't they pretty? I have quite a few black-eyed Susans coming up here that just reseeded themselves from a plant that was in that area last year. And over by my fence here, you can see some of my baby Joe Pye weed plants coming up. As you know, if you've watched my videos before, they will grow to be about as tall as my fence. This candy tuft is a really pretty early spring bloomer. I love that. Flowers will be coming, I hope, soon on some of these plants, like this moonshine yarrow. You can see one bud starting there. Here's a peony with no buds yet. And some Asiatic lilies coming up. Now over here in the corner, I have some poppies, and they are just such a beautiful color of tangerine. You can see many buds coming up, ready to bloom very shortly. This purple sand cherry bush, actually I have 3 of them planted together there. And here's a spring look at the flowers that they grow before they get fully leafed out. It is a very pretty plant, and I planted 3 of them together in order to make it look a little bit more bushy, because they can be a bit spindly. Now next to my shed, I have this honeysuckle, Kinsley's Ghost, which I am hoping will really begin to climb up this trellis this year for the first time. And I surely do love this swing in the back of my garden. It's quite comfortable. A great place to sit and read and have a nice cup of coffee. I do have some winter kill on this bush. My purple autumn ash had all of its leaf buds frozen off, and so it's just now beginning to recover, and we'll be seeing some nice bushing out of the leaves very, very soon. Don't you love those dainty little flowers on this Solomon seal? Let me know if you'd like to have a tour of my garden shed sometime this summer. I always decorate it a little bit new way each season. I really enjoy doing that. So I would be happy to share with you the inside of my shed in another video. Just leave a comment down below and let me know what you would like. Over in this corner is where I have my usual fairy garden for my little grandsons, and they like to play back here with the fairies and dinosaurs and different toys, you know, things that I put out for them to have to play with. This is their area. They're pretty good about playing with it without digging up my plants. Now here is a sad space where I had a very nice clump of Monarda or bee balm growing the last 2 or 3 summers, and I think between the drought especially and the unusual temperatures, they just didn't make it through the winter. I was so sad to see that. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe they'll still come up. Got to keep them watered though, they do like a lot of water. Now here is a beautiful small bush, lime mound spirea, that gives great color all summer, as well as this golden barberry over here on the right. They both provide a yellowish green color all summer long for you. Now this Miss Kim lilac is past its prime in blooming, but I thought I'd share with you a little bit of what it looked like when it was in full bloom earlier this spring. It did pretty well through the snow, and what I like about Miss Kim is that it blooms later than other lilacs. The French common lilacs bloom earlier, and so it's more likely they can survive a spring freeze. And they have a fabulous fragrance, guys. Two buds on this peony right here. And I have to say this basket of gold is pretty tough in early spring freezes. It seems to survive quite well. Look at that tiny peony. Now here's my raised bed for vegetables. I have a cherry tomato and a Cherokee purple, basil, dill, cucumbers, and those tiny little green plants that you see growing there are 3 rows of carrots for my grandsons. They are carrot lovers, so I thought I'd try them this summer. This pink ice plant closes up its blooms in the dark or in a cloudy day, but there was a picture for you of what it looks like when it's in full bloom in the sun. This is a new plant for me this summer, chocolate vine, which is a vine that both grows and blooms in partial shade. So I'm really excited to give it a try in this more shady part of my yard. I learned about it in the garden tour that I was involved with last summer. One of the homeowners grew it on a shady side of her house, and boy, oh boy, was I excited to learn about this new vine. New to me, at least. My hosta garden here is doing fairly well considering the weather. This summoned substance, the leaves are finally starting to grow large, as they will after a few years. And that plant has been there, I would say this is year 4. So it is coming into its prime. And I'm filling in here, I lost some hostas, but you can always fill in with more hostas or some ground covers. If you have a ceramic bird bath, one tip I can give you is to use branches, rocks for the birds to land on so they don't slip. They don't like that feeling of a slippery, slick surface that you get with a ceramic bird bath. So using those can really help you with attracting your birds. Lastly, I wanted to show you my Royal Raindrops crabapple when it was in full bloom earlier this summer before our snow. It really is just filled with so many blooms this early spring. I was just thrilled to death because there's always that chance of getting the buds frozen off if you have a late frost. But this tree bloomed right before our snows and gave this beautiful show. What a thrill to see it again this summer. And lastly, here are the 2 large trees that are growing in my front yard, and there's my grass, not quite green yet. I took this video separately a little earlier because I wanted to capture for you a new bush. Well, this is year number 4 for this bush that we're coming to over here. It is called Bridal Wreath Spirea, does wonderful in Zone 4 gardens, and I just love the beautiful bunches of small white flowers that grow together. And I think that style of growing, I'm going to show you a close-up here in a minute, is called an umbel. Not positive, I have to check on that. Anyway, we're going to get a close-up of these beautiful flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at them. See how they grow together? Almost looks like a little umbrella. Isn't that cute and so beautiful? This is the first year it has really started growing well and flowered so beautifully. And as you can see, the stems are beginning to arch over. And as the bush gets larger, that's what makes this such a beautiful one, that it arches up and over the branches to give you a very graceful look to your plant. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I sure would love to have you subscribe to my channel as well. This is Mary saying goodbye for now.